Welcome to the Counter-Strike Beginner's Guide. This is going to be a fairly short video, kind of a test to try out my new video format. So I'm just going to go over something very basic, which is peeking. There are tons of videos that go over this, and it's a pretty simple technique that's not too difficult to master, so let's proceed, shall we? So to start off, when peeking, you always want to remain behind cover as much as possible and use your environment to your advantage. So let's say you're checking that hallway back there. You would want to slowly edge off the corners. You only want to peek until you see a single enemy so that you can attack them one-on-one. You also want to use a tactic in which you quickly jump back and forth out of cover in a juke-like fashion. I'm not sure what the name of this tactic is actually called, but it's where you peek, shoot consecutively. When doing this, you want to fire right after you switch directions, and in doing that, it will cancel out any movement penalties to your accuracy. So like, see if I'm moving, your shots will go all over the place, but if you tap it when you reverse direction, you can still fire exceptionally accurately. So when peeking and you come across an enemy, you can use this technique to take them out. So then you would go to the next suspected area where you would find an enemy opponent and do the same thing, and do that until you make it all the way around the room. So some mistakes you do not want to make would be just popping your head out there, like walking all the way out of cover. That would be a huge mistake, because then you could have a whole variety of places where an enemy could be at, and if there are multiple enemies, they're just going to mow you down. So edge off your corners and just take them out that way. It'll be much safer, and you have a much lower chance of just getting fucking destroyed. You also want to use cover to deploy grenades to your advantage. So you want to do the same thing for grenades. Like if you're throwing a grenade back there, you don't want to step out here to do it. You want to keep yourself behind cover as much as possible, even when you're just tossing a grenade. So like if you wanted to hit somebody back there with a grenade, instead of doing that, obviously it's very simple. You just bounce it off a wall. And if you get a good feel for each map, you'll usually know how to use specific grenades for just about any situation. And that's basically the gist of peeking. I mean, it's very simple. And when you're on the counter-terrorist side, when it comes to peeking, typically, like if a terrorist was back there in this scenario, you would want to basically do the same thing, but like say the terrorist starts to retreat, or it appears like he's retreating, you don't want to be overly offensive and pursue him necessarily. Like, you want to play your objective, you want to be defensive about it. So you don't want to go out of cover exposing yourself. You want to stay back and make the terrorists be the ones who expose themselves. So if they weren't pushing, play back and force them to come out. They may rotate around the map. That's their prerogative. You can always rotate with them, but you don't want to get yourself killed early on in a match because you were being overzealous and you were going out there trying to get a kill that you could have just played more defensively and gotten anyway. So that's about it. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, even though it's extremely simple. And I know you guys are waiting for content, so this new format hopefully will allow me to push out content faster, because I'm trying to keep videos shorter. I'm going to cover less topics at one time in a video so that I can push out a video more often, such as focusing on peeking for an entire video. That takes less time than doing like a map overview where I discuss where to peek in what areas. Like, that takes way too much time. So it makes a lot more sense for me just to go over the topic of peeking as a whole rather than saying where you should peak or when you should peak. If you get down the techniques for peaking, then you already know how to do it. I don't need to show you how to do it on each map. So that's kind of what I'm going to be going for. I'm going to have videos coming out soon, purchase guidelines, communication skills, aiming tips, accuracy, and spray pattern, which I've already sort of covered, but there's more to it that I can go over. So that's kind of what I'm planning, either in the next few days or within the next week, to work on. Shorter, maybe 5-minute videos that will be much easier for me to just jump in and record and edit instead of, recording 3 takes of a map overview, which I will still be doing. I will still be covering techniques on different maps and giving out strategies on those maps, but those will come actually about as frequently as they have been, about once every month or two. But with this, I'll be able to go over other topics that will improve your play in the meantime, and that will sort of fill in the gaps between my map strategy videos, and will give you guys something else to watch so you don't have to wait for my, lazy ass to do something. So, thanks for watching, and hopefully I will have another video out in a couple days.